Welcome to our New York Giants Preservation Society meeting for tonight. Today's Wednesday, May 6th, 2026, as we begin honoring Willie Mays month. May, the month of Mays. Today would have been Willie's 95th birthday. But before we do that, I think Norm wanted to say one thing before I get started or show something. Norm, go ahead.
I just want to, in honor of Willie Mays, I want to share something. What's this? Can you guys see this? This was on the scoreboard today.
Oh, yeah.
They have named a section of the highway that sort of goes by the ballpark, Willie Mays Highway.
Oh,
And so I thought you guys would want to see this.
well, that's the Polo Grounds area, right?
No.
No, this is San Francisco.
No, this is
So where is that located?
If you
Where's
come
that?
off the bridge and you're going into San Francisco and you're going towards 101, that's where this is that's where this is.
Oh, I know that stretch. Yeah, that kind of links up when you like just what you're saying. And then you have to get off to take Van Ness to continue on 101 past Lombard Street at Lombard or Richardson.
Right. So
Right?
this goes the other way. Yeah.
Right.
Norm,
how-
Norm,
Thanks,
Norm, is it hot, Norm?
Thank-
Is the sign tall enough, high enough off the ground that it's unlikely that anybody will try to thieve it?
I assume so. I haven't seen it in person, but I assume it's high enough. Yes.
Thank
I
you
mean,
so
that's a
much, Norm.
thievable sign.
Thank you, Gary, for letting me show that.
Yeah.
All right, so
go with
let
no.
us get started. First of all, I want to wish all the moms happy Mother's Day to all of you. I also want to send out condolences to Russ Stanley, who lost his mom last week. Russ is a tremendous member of our group, and I feel horrible for him, especially because Mother's Day. So why don't we just take a couple of seconds to remember Russ's mother, Erica Stanley. Okay, tonight we're going to start our celebration with Chip Greene. Chip contributed to the Willie Mays 5 Tools book by writing about Willie's 4 home run game. We're going to get to Chip in a second. I was going to mention what Norm showed about the highway being renamed, a section of it, Willie Mays Highway. Harvey, you are going to be our tool master from here on in.
Oh, man.
And here's your assignment, Harvey. Every time we have somebody come on and they talk about Willie Mays being a 5-tool player, everybody says there might be 8 tools. So you are going to be the coordinator. You're going to write down as many as this group has agreed upon. And that's what we're going to use as our indicator of his toolbox. How does that sound, Renee?
Oh, by the end of the day, it'll be like a warehouse.
It might be. All right, next week, we have New York Giant pitcher Joe Marganeri is going to be joining us. And later on in the month, Jackie Brandt, 2 New York Giants who played with Willie Mays. I decided that it'd be a great thing to do. I sent them both New York Giant caps as a token of our appreciation for them not only coming on, but for remaining alive, because there's only 5 of them who are still with us.
Wow.
So with that being said, I'd like to introduce Chip Greene to the New York Giants Preservation Society. Chip, the floor is yours.
Well, thank you very much, Gary, and I appreciate the opportunity to come, and I appreciate knowing that somebody reads some stuff that I write. I think that's the coolest thing, and for those who obviously don't know me, I wanted to take a second by way of an introduction and quickly sort of bring things full circle. I know this is Willie Mays. It was a 1,500-page article in the 5 Tools. I wanted to bring a little more substance to the discussion here and introduce myself by way of this. When I I have my actual given name is Nelson Greene, and I happen to be the fourth in line. But the third in line, myself and my dad, and my paternal grandfather actually was a pitcher in the major leagues for a brief amount of time. When my parents split up, I was born in '62, the year after Willie hit 4 home runs. When my parents split up, I went with my mom. Didn't see my dad a lot, so didn't really see that grandfather very often, and didn't really get a chance to know him. But I've spent most of the last 30, 35 years learning about my grandfather's career. It's how I got into SABR in the first place. Use it as a resource to find out more things about him. It's difficult to find people alive, even back 20 years ago, who had played with him, knew him. So I just want to briefly introduce him to you. Nelson George Greene was his name, and he pitched for I know this is a Giants, so don't throw things at me, but he pitched for the Dodgers, the Brooklyn Dodgers, in parts of the 24 and 25 season. As I was growing up, I'm sure that I've always wondered, how did I know that he was a pitcher? I'm sure that my father introduced him to me at some point in terms of the fact that he had done it. My dad and I were diehard Orioles fans. I'm over here on the East Coast. I've been all of my life and have spent thousands and thousands of games at Memorial Stadium, Camden Yards. And so I have no doubt that probably Dad introduced that fact to me. Your grandfather pitched briefly in the major leagues. So as I was growing up, I would go visit him, and he was a big dude, 6'4" at the time, maybe 250, and gruff voice. And I was always just intimidated, just couldn't really get to know him very well. And he lived in a little town called Lebanon, Pennsylvania, and sat in his lazy boy lounger, and the local team for them, television-wise, was the Phillies. And so my recollection of him is always sitting in his lazy boy in a chair watching the Phillies game, and these new players, trashing everything. And this is mid 70s. So I can recall sitting one day, literally sitting on the floor at his knee, and finally got up the courage to say, I really want to learn about this guy's career, because I didn't know what to ask him. And as a little kid, I didn't really know. You don't know when you're 7, 8, 9, 10 years old. You don't know much baseball history. So the only thing I really knew from that at the time was, who's the biggest name out there historically in baseball when you're a kid? For me, it was Babe Ruth. So I'm sitting with my granddad one day, and I said, we called him Papa. I said, can you see this? Anybody see this?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That was Nelson. I actually found this one on eBay. I look for stuff from him all the time. But so Nelson Greene. So I asked him. I knew Babe Ruth. I knew the name. So just picked it out of the hat and said, my 10, 11-year-old self, hey, Papa, did you ever play against Babe Ruth? He said, no, I never did. I wouldn't have known. He was Brooklyn, and he was the Yankees, and never the twain shall meet. That's fine. And he said, no, I never did, but I was in the dugout with my team one day, and he was in the dugout with his, and he got up to hit, and I watched from the dugout, and I watched him, and he was the greatest thing ever. So I had gone on for many, many years thinking, wouldn't it have been great if he had played against Babe Ruth? And so I joined SABR. I got doing a whole bunch of research. One day, I'll tell you, he's from a little town called Lebanon, Pennsylvania. One day I had found a newspaper clipping online, and it says Nelson Greene pitches for Richmond, strikes out Babe Ruth, plays against the Yankees, strikes out Babe Ruth, Hinkie Haynes, and Bob Musial. I know, what the heck is this? How would he not know that he played against Babe Ruth? And I did all my research, and turns out that he indeed had played against Ruth on at least 2 occasions that I found. And in one account struck him out, and then another account Ruth got a bases loaded hit off of him in spring training. So there was history there for them. Nelson came up. They found him in Richmond in 1923. Dodgers came to find him. He played against the Dodgers. He played against the Giants, played against the Yankees. As a pitcher down in Richmond, all the clubs would come north, going back up to after spring training. And turns out the Yankees showed up in Richmond this particular day to play against them. And that's how he faced Ruth. That's how he got a strikeout. So it turns out, too, that one of the teams that they played against was the Dodgers. And the Dodgers in September of 23 offered him a contract. He accepted that contract. And in September of 23, went to New York. Before he joined the team, he made an exhibition game appearance at Washington Park up in Brooklyn. And then he joined the club in September of 23, made a couple of bullpen warm-ups, but never got into a game. And they said, come to spring training in 24. So Nelson showed up in spring training of 24, won a spot on the roster, made an appearance in April. His debut, and I forget what the outcome of that was, but the point of this story is that the second time he made an appearance was June 3rd, 1924. The Giants were hosting at the Polo Grounds, and Nelson and the Dodgers came to visit, and they had a doubleheader. And the first game was done, and Wilbur Robinson was out of pitchers, and he looked down in the bullpen, and here's this new young left-hander he had just gotten from Richmond. And he said, I need you to start the second game. And so my grandfather's one start, he had a 15-game career over 1924, 1925, pitched 15 games in the majors, made one start, and it was on June 3rd, 1924 at the Polo Grounds against the New York Giants. And I've always been fascinated with it. He gave up a home run to Travis Jackson, and then he yanked him out. They lost 2-1. He took the loss, but he pitched okay. And then that was the best he ever did. So I wanted to at least bring it full circle that I recognize that this is the Giants, and appreciate your listening to me tell you that story. So I like to think that Nelson, one day I was oftentimes playing golf. I one time played some golf down at a course in South Carolina, and they said, Arnold Palmer played here once, back 50 years ago, and I went and played a round of golf on a course where he had once trod. And so I like to say my grandfather trod the same ground as did Willie Mays, playing in the Polo Grounds, and so I like to think that some of that greatness rubbed off on the progeny that my grandfather had. So Willie Mays 4 home runs. I've written a bunch of stuff for Sabre. Just enjoy doing the research, enjoy doing the writing. They put together the 5 Tools book, and I said, whatever you need to have written about, I'm here to help. And so I spent a while doing the research on it. They make them kind of short, stuff you can put in, stuff you can't put out. But I'll tell you what I wrote about that day. And for those who don't know about the 4 home run game, then I hope I can give you something new. Again, I was born in 62, and he hit the home runs in 61, so I can't add you anything that I was there. But so be it. April 30th, 1961, that was a Sunday afternoon. And that was the third game of a 3-game set between the Giants and the Milwaukee Braves. The game was played at County Stadium in Milwaukee. Remember the Milwaukee Braves, when they left, County Stadium was unoccupied for I think 5 years or so, and then the Brewers came in and took it. But Mays and the Giants came in. Mays was 29 years old the day that he hit the 4 home runs. 3-game series that we're only 2 weeks into the season. Had played 15 games. So the first game was Friday night. That would be the 28th, and the Giants came up against Warren Spahn, and Spahn was only 7 months removed from throwing his first no-hitter. He got that in September of 1960 when the Phillies came to Milwaukee. And 7 months later, Spahn is now pitching for the Braves. And in game one of the series against Willie and the rest of the team, Spahn threw another no-hitter, and it was his second career no-hitter. So game one of this series was Warren Spahn winning 1-0 against Willie and the Giants on a 1-0 no-hitter. While we do that, the next game was obviously April 29th, played the second game of the series. Tables were turned. Marshall pitched for the Giants this time, and the Giants found their bats. They totaled 15 hits, thumped the Giants, thumped Milwaukee 7-3, even the series. And so the Sunday game, April 30th, with Willie's home run, was the rubber game of the series. Sunday afternoon, April 30th in Milwaukee. The attendance is listed different places, but the one that I got the most approaches at 13,114 people on a Sunday afternoon in Milwaukee to see this game. The lineup that the Giants put out there for this game 3 was Hiller at second, leading off, and Davenport played third. Willie was in his customary spot, batting third. Willie McCovey at batting fourth. Cepeda was 5 in left. Felipe Alou was 6 in right, and then Ed Bailey catching, Jose Pagan at short, and Billy Lowe's was the pitcher for the Giants this day. And the Braves threw out Lou Burdette. So Burdette versus Lowe's, two very, very established, very senior right-handed pitchers. Lowe's had actually faced the Milwaukee Braves many, many times before. He had faced them 12 times, or he had recorded 12 decisions against the Braves during his career, and was 11-1. He had in 1961. He had not lost to the Braves since 1953. So the Giants were pretty happy to have Billy Lowe's take the mound to face the Braves. So top of the first game starts. Burdette's on the mound, and right off the bat, there's a leadoff single. But right behind that, there's a double play. So the bases are empty, and Mays comes up for the first time against Burdette. Bases empty, 2 down, and he stroked the fastball. Solo home run. This was his first, about 420 feet dead center. 1 RBI. 1 RBI for the game, 1 home run for the game, 1 at bat. So that was Burdette got the final out after that. Bottom of the first, Lowe's was very effective after the fact, but on the first was the only time he got rocked, and he actually gave up. Hank Aaron hit a 3-run homer and quickly put them up 3-1. He countered Mays' home run. After Mays hit the home run, Lowe's got the next 2 outs, and it's 3-1 going into inning number 2. Quiet inning, side retired on both sides. So 3-1 into the third when Willie came up again against Burdette. The story of this is that had Willie Mays not done what he did that day with 4 home runs, there would have been another star of the ballgame. That was Jose Pagan. Pagan led off the top of the third for the Giants. He came into the game with a career. He had only batted 113 times. He came in with 23 total hits and 113 at bats. He was a 204 lifetime hitter at that stage of his very young career. Had never hit a home run, and sure enough, he led off with a home run, first home run of his career, and pushed the average to whatever was going to be above 204. But first home run cut the Milwaukee lead to 3-2. Next 2 batters, that would be the number 9. That would be Burdett's spot and Chuck Hiller number 1. Those two were retired. Jim Davenport was the number 2 hitter, and Burdett hit him with a pitch. So here's Willie, second at bat, batting third. Jim Davenport is on first base. It's Burdett again, and he threw a sinker. And Willie crushed this one again, estimated about 400 feet. Two at bats, 2 home runs. He's got 3 RBIs for the game, and San Francisco now leads 4-3. And they were not going to relinquish this one. Milwaukee got up to bat against Billy Lowe's, and he put him down 1-2-3, 4-3. Giants after 3. So they went to inning number 4. Cepeda hit a home run against Burdett, and that was the end of Burdett's day. It was 5-3 Milwaukee. They brought in the Braves brought in a right-handed pitcher named Carl Willie to relieve, and among his performance were 2 more home runs. He gave a home run to Felipe Alou, made it 6-3, and then he gave a home run number 2, both for the day and for the career of the infamous Jose Pagan, who had his second career, and he would have 2 more hits in this game and have 4 hits for the game, 2 home runs, 4 hits altogether. And had Willie not done what he was going to do, Pagan would have been the star of the game. At any rate, through 3.5, moving to the 4th, they put the Giants up 7-3. Bottom of the 4th, Lowe's stymied them again. It was 7-3 going into the 5th. And for Milwaukee to pitch in the 5th, they put in Mo Drabowski. Mays was the leadoff batter in the top of the 5th. Drabowski got him out. Mays flew out deep to center field, kept the ballpark, kept it, and this time no home run. So Willie for the day was 2 for 3 and had driven in 3 runs. Lowe's set down Milwaukee again in the bottom of the 5th, so it was still 7-3 Giants as they went to the 6th. Drabowski was pinch hit for in the bottom of the 5th. So when the Giants got to the top of the 6th, there was another new pitcher for the Braves, and he was a left-hander named Seth Moorhead. Seth Moorhead, in his career, I believe, allowed 32 home runs, and only one of them was to Willie Mays, but it was this one. So Seth Moorhead, the left-hander, came on. He first faced Ed Bailey, and he struck him out. His second batter was, again, Jose Pagan, and this time Pagan singled. So his 2 home runs and a single, 1 out. Billy Lowe's came up. Billy Lowe's tried to lay down a sacrifice. Milwaukee got to the ball, but tried to get the lead runner at first. That was Pagan heading to second, and they were late with the throw, and Pagan was safe. So San Francisco had 2 on with 1 out. Chuck Hiller came up, grounded into a force. Lowe's was out at second. So Pagan in getting Lowe's at second, Pagan came around to score from second, and so that made the score 8-3. And you had 1 runner still on. Jim Davenport came up and was walked. So Mays was number 3 in the order, came up for the 4th time. So he'd already hit 2 home runs, and he flew out to center field. I think I said there were 2 runners on, but the runner on was Davenport, who had reached on a walk. Anyway, Mays came up now against Seth Moorhead, whom I had never heard of when I did this research. So I don't have really any sterling piece of news to tell you about Seth Moorhead, other than he proceeded to surrender Willie Mays' 3rd home run of the day, with 2 men on, 3 runs batted in. And Mays was now at 6 RBIs for the day, 3 home runs for the day. Moorhead threw him a slider. This was the longest of the 3 home runs, and as you read it in the as you read in the papers, whenever they give you the dimensions and whatever, what the reporters talked about that day was May swung and he hit it deep to left field, 376 in the power alley, and above that the left field fence they had built new bleachers in County Stadium in Milwaukee, and then on the left field line they had put a new picnic area called Braves Reservation, Milwaukee Braves Reservation. So in the description that was presented says the trajectory of the ball was so high, it would probably have had no problem clearing the wall, clearing the bleachers, and clearing the stadium. But at the end of its trajectory, it hooked to the left, stayed in the park, but went over the wall in fairgrounds. So it was a home run, which they estimated at 450 feet. A 3-run shot, top of the inning, and it made the score 11-3. San Francisco over the Braves. Sixth inning came. Aaron hit a home run. He hadn't heard much from Milwaukee, but Aaron hit his second home run of the game, 11-4. Seventh inning came, scoreless on both sides. Got to the eighth inning. This is going to be at bat number 5 for Mays. Don McMahon was a right-hander this time for Milwaukee. He had come in relief. He immediately gave up back-to-back extra base hits. He gave up a double and a triple. So another run scored. It's 12-4 Milwaukee, 12-4 Giants against Milwaukee. And here came Willie Mays. At bat number 5, the runner on third, who had stroked the triple, and McMahon threw a slider. And again, Willie crushed it. Left center field, cleared the fence, 430 feet estimated. And he drove home the guy from third, estimated 430 feet. And those were the final 2 RBIs of the game. His 4th home run of the game in 5 at-bats. He totaled 8 runs batted in. He drove home 8 of the 14 runs. Score was 14-4 in the 8th. Milwaukee did not score in the 8th. And they got to the 9th, top of the 9th inning. 2 outs. Davenport came up, and Willie was in the on-deck circle. Willie was in the on-deck circle, and 2 outs. Davenport grounded out. And Willie did not get the chance to hit the 5th home run of the game. And what I laugh at is when Davenport grounded out, the Giant batter in Milwaukee, the fans booed him because they wanted to make sure that Willie had gotten up. So that was home run. That was home run possibility number 5, but Willie just didn't get to make it. And so he totaled for the game. That was 4 home runs. Interviewed about the game. They first interviewed him, and he talked about the possibility of hitting home run number 5. He was quoted to say, "Tell the truth, I don't think I would have hit anything. You see, I started to think about it when it was announced over the public address, and I know I'd be pressing, trying to go for another one." That was his opinion of the chance of hitting home run number 5. After the game, he talked to local press, and he said that when he came into the game hitting 291, and he had hit 2 home runs in the first 15 games, driven in 6. So 291, 2 home runs, 6 RBIs through the first 2 weeks of the season. For most mortal guys, it would have been, hey, give that to me. Willie thought it was very much a slump, and he said, I couldn't hit the ball hard before the 4 home runs. But before today's game, I had an idea I was going to snap out of it. I was about due to do something. He was asked if he'd ever hit 4 home runs before, and he said he had never, to his recollection, hit more than 2 home runs in a game before. And when he hit his 4 home runs, he quote unquote, "It was the first time this year that I hit the ball real good. It seems I could see the ball plainly." And that was what he attributed it to. And it ended up with the Giants in a runaway 14-4 on the back of Willie Mays' 4 home runs and Jose Pagan, who again hit 2 home runs and singled twice to support that, and otherwise would have been the star of the game. So, anything about that game that was anyone here at the game or watched the game or has any recollection of anything to add to that we would find interesting? Absolutely. I don't know any names. And on one of the hand up says iPad.
Willie Mays, in one of the at-bats, after Davenport hit a deep fly ball to center field. I was listening to the game, I believe on the radio. They had been televised, recreating some of the games. And so to my recollection, I don't know if I was listening to that on with Les Kiter recreating the games, but I know on one of the at-bats after Davenport, Mays hit a deep fly ball to the wall in center field.
And that said that when Drabowski came in and the paper wrote it, yeah, he hit it to center field and flat out. So that's got to be the one you're talking about, because he had
Yes.
5 bats and hit 4 home runs. So that makes complete sense. I only have 3 people on my window, so I don't know if someone's got a hand up. So please.
Chip, I'll handle it from here. First of all, thank you for your thorough dissection of the game. I didn't know a lot of what you were saying, talking about prior. All I ever heard was 4 home runs in a game, but this was very, very detailed. My question to you is, when Saber started this book project, did you ask to do this story, or did they assign it to you?
It's an excellent question. I've done these both ways, and I don't recall which one it was. Saber will typically give you a spreadsheet of here's all the stories. Most of the time, the author, the person who's putting it together, knows what they want to include in their publication, and so they will give you a spreadsheet and say, pick one of these things. I don't actually remember. I suspect I probably had it assigned, or they gave me the list, and what was left on it was one of these, because it would not have been the Willie Mays 4 home runs. I would have known nothing about it. Wouldn't have immediately been, oh yeah, that sounds great. Because I find that writing the home run things are okay. You hit the home run, then what? So I more than likely, Gary, would have probably just picked what was left of was unassigned.
Oh, you picked a good game, because that was basically 65 years ago last week. So again, thank you so much. Steve Rothschild, you are up.
Yeah, thank you, Gary. Just a nice presentation. Take care of that cold. Seems like you have a bad cold.
I have.
Mays had so many record-breaking things, and it was a nice way to start off the month of Mays, as we call it. I know a lot of people know this. I'm not sure if you do. Willie Mays is the only player in the history of the game to hit a home run in every inning, 1 through 16. It's quite a stat.
Absolutely.
My question to you is this, and I'm not sure. I know Mays had great success against Warren Spahn. Did he have similar success against Burdette? Do you know that? I'm not sure. Maybe somebody else does. Thank you.
I do not know the answer to that. I don't recall that I went in and looked. You can find batter pitcher matchups on Retro Sheet and all over the place, Baseball Reference. I don't believe I went and looked for that, other than the left-hander Seth there is the only one I looked up.
Well, thanks for your presentation. Thanks a lot.
Steve, did you also say, I think many people have said that he used Joey Amalfitano's bat?
Yeah, there was something, he used the Amalfitano's bat.
For all 4 of the home runs? The whole game he used it?
I guess. Why
Yes.
not?
Yes, he did.
Broke. I don't know.
Mars, you're up.
Thank you, Nelson. That was very interesting. One thing that I'm sure you're aware of, Willie Mays was sick the night before by eating bad spare ribs. So he didn't even know if he was going to play until the last minute. But I want to bring up something about your grandfather, which is I thought very interesting. Online, you could look up any box score. Probably, I'm not sure if you could look up exhibition games, but you could find out that you may be able to find out the game that your grandfather pitched to Babe Ruth and other games that he pitched in the major leagues. So I'm sure you're aware of that too. But you may have to know the dates. So when I go online, I'll give you a good example. I went to the last Giant Dodger game played in New York, and my memory, I was only 10 years old when I went to that game. And I thought that, all these years passed. I thought that Hank Sauer hit a 3-run homer in the bottom of the ninth. It was actually in the fourth inning, and the lead held up. So you could look up any game online. Now, I wanted to mention something about a pitcher you named. This is my last comment. When Billy Lowe's started pitching for the Baltimore Orioles, after the Giants and Dodgers had already left New York, and we went to, we weren't Yankee fans at all, but we were always rooting for the other team. Well, there was a doubleheader between the Orioles and Yankees, and by that time, Billy Lowe's was a relief pitcher. And my pop said after like middle innings of the second game of the doubleheader, we exited along the visitors' bullpen, and I saw something that was pretty despicable. I guess some young fans were taunting Billy Lowe's, and he actually spit on them.
Oh,
So, since you mentioned Billy Lowe's, I just wanted to mention that. Thank you very much for your presentation. I thought it was very well done.
thank you, sir.
Thank
I
you,
did.
Boris.
I did years ago before the internet was a thing. I found on microfilm all 15 games, box scores in the New York Times for all 15 games that Nelson pitched. But I've never found spring training and certainly not the minor league stuff very much.
Oh,
But constantly find it. Like example of that picture, I constantly find stuff on eBay that he must have been given a stack of index cards, 3x5 cards, and said, "Hey, we'll give you money to sign all these because there's a Nelson Greene signature on a 3x5 card that's for sale on eBay about every other week."
well, I think it's an honor to have a relative that pitched in the major leagues. I would always be very proud of that if that happened to me. So thank you very much.
Absolutely, thank you.
Now, here's a guy who I saw nodding his head a lot during this presentation. Bill Clink, you're up.
Thank you very much, Gary, and thank you, Chip. To answer one of Mars' points, you can go back on Baseball Reference all the way to 1920 and get every single game. So there's kind of a break point there. I don't know. I guess they haven't completed the research, or it was inaccurate, or whatever. I was nodding my head on relatives. We refer to him as Cousin Joe. Cousin Joe Clink. He did not have an illustrious career, but pitching for Oakland, he did. I have a relative who pitched to one batter and walked him in the World Series. Cousin Joe was from Johnstown, and all the Clinks from Western PA are all related.
So let me ask you if you're related. My brother-in-law, my sister's husband, is John Clink. He's from New Jersey.
It's
I don't know.
most likely he is related.
He's one of you. He's from Jersey, and yeah,
It was a good place to get married.
Very
That's all I remember.
good.
Now, what I also remember is this, or what I would ask you. Jimmy Davenport, of all the players, Davenport had to have felt the greatest amount of pressure. I mean, consider he's coming up in the ninth, and he knows what's on the line. If he can just get a walk, get hit, any way that he gets on, Mays gets the chance. Did you have a chance to speak to him? He lived beyond the time that the book was put out, I think. Did you speak with Davenport?
I did not. I did not.
No. Okay.
I wish I would have known that. I would have.
And he was a forthcoming sort of guy. When he found out who you were, and he was a nice guy. I did get actually two players wrote to me about this game, and I'll share quickly their comments. One was a journeyman outfielder, many of you remember, by the name of Johnny Demerit. And Johnny wrote back to me about the game. None of them were cheap, all to left and left center field, well up in the bleachers. I remember Willie Mays more for him robbing me of a home run in September of '61 in County Stadium. He's still living, and he's quite well in Port Washington, Wisconsin. He's a neighbor of my brother who lives in Port Washington, so Scott knows him. The other is Ken McKenzie. Ken wrote back to me, and Ken writes to everybody. He's a Yale graduate, very literate, and he was in this instance as well. And I'll share with you a couple of things about Willie's 4 home run game. Henry hit 2. Um, I recall in the game, but I didn't face Willie. Sorry, Willie. Mo Drabowski was the only pitcher who got him out, a line drive to center. I always said that it was the hardest ball hit all day. Oh, yes. He used a borrowed bat that day, so we can confirm it. A borrowed bat that day. Give me a minute. I think I'll remember his name. Oh, yeah, he was the first pitcher I faced in the big leagues. How can I forget? Oh, yes, I remember Joey Amalfitano. Typical Ken McKenzie. I mean, McKenzie would go on and on. You write to him and he'd send you back a book. I mean, there was more to this letter, but it had nothing to do with this particular game. But we can confirm it was Joey Amalfitano's bat, at least according to Ken McKenzie, who was sitting there in the dugout. Thank you very much. It brings back great memories. And I just remember waking up on Saturday morning, not Monday morning, Saturday morning, not having listened to the game Friday night, and my father telling me the Giants didn't do too well last night, Billy. Warren Spahn pitched a no-hitter against them. I don't recall listening to the Sunday game. I wish I had. Thank you very much.
Thank
you, Bill. And if anybody could ever get Nelson Greene's autograph, if you didn't have it, this guy would be able to do it. Norm Coleman, you're up.
Yeah.
Hey, Chip, thank you so much. I love always hearing about this game. And every time I come on here, Bill Klink is before me, and he always brings up the thing I want to talk about. But I do want to tie this story together with the Malfitano bat and what Mars said. Willie Mays was sick the night before. They claim it was the ribs, and he was not feeling strong the day of the game. And Amalfitano, he didn't want it. He thought his bat was too heavy, and Amalfitano said, "Here, use my bat." So that's the whole story tied together.
Mhm.
As far as the things that intrigue me about games like this is, one, Don McMahon became Willie Mays' teammate a few years later, and I love it when teammates are involved in something like that. Something else for me is there were 4 members who would be in the 500 home run club in that game: Willie Mays, Willie McCovey, Eddie Matthews, and Hank Aaron. And that always fascinates me. The thing that you said about the fans booing when Davenport made the out, I had a similar experience against the Braves at Candlestick Park. Tony Cloninger hit 2 grand slams, a pitcher, against the Giants. And later in the game, there were 2 runners on, 2 outs, and the batter ahead of Cloninger made an out, and myself included, the fans booed. You wanted to see him have that chance for a 3rd grand slam. And then the last thing I just wanted to comment on is Hank Aaron hit 2 home runs in that game. And once again, Willie Mays was twice as good as Hank Aaron. And,
Very good.
and that's it. So thank you very much, Chip.
Thank you.
I just wanted to mention, I've told you all about my escapades with Jim Davenport when I was 19 years old, and I roomed with him in Philadelphia as he put us up in his hotel room with him. And you see how stupid I was? I had no idea about that. He was the guy guilty of not letting Mays come up to bat for home run number 5. So if you could only turn back the clock, I guess. Frank, you are up.
Yeah, Chip, thank you. This was very entertaining. I I didn't listen to that game on the radio. I don't know why. I usually did. What I do remember is the next morning is that iconic photograph of Mays on the back page of the New York Daily News of Mays, just this joyous grin on his face, holding 4 baseballs among his fingers. And it's just a look of unbridled joy, which is when I think of Willie Mays, that's what I think of. Frankly, I think of that photograph. And I remember my father trying to emulate him holding the 4 baseballs, but he couldn't. And I remember the kids in my school, all the boys were trying to do it. Nobody could. Nobody could hold the. And in my adulthood, when I was co-captain of one of my son's, I don't know, little league teams, I remember reaching into a bag of balls and putting and the other co-coach and other fathers saying, what are you trying to do? I said, trying to see if I can, maybe my fingers have grown longer and I can now hold these 4 baseballs. No, couldn't do it then, can't do it now. But thank you very much. This was wonderful.
I could do it with super glue.
Thank you. Thank you, Frank. Joe C., you are up. Unmute, Joe. Joe, you're muted. There you go.
Are we there?
Yep, we're good.
Always being the accountant, in my calculation, he hit the ball about 3/8 of a mile that night. Adding them all up, I can't remember the fourth one, but that's the only thing I had except for the 4 balls in one hand. Couldn't bench hold 5 balls? I think
7.
Oh, I think it was even more than that.
7 in one hand. I couldn't do that with golf balls.
But I
That's
tell you,
all I got.
it was the look on his face that I'll never forget.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I remember that 1,000-fold.
Yeah.
Norm, Norm, could you find that picture? And then since I shared the screen with you, do you want to show it if you can?
Wait a minute, the one that I showed before?
No, the Mays holding the 4 balls and smiling.
Oh, I'll need some time for that.
If you get a moment, whenever you can. That's all.
Okay.
Does anybody else have a question who has not asked Chip a question, who does not know how to raise their yellow hand?
Gary, I have one more thing to interject, if I might,
Sure.
if you don't mind.
Not at all.
Very quick. I wrote another piece. It is not a Giants-driven piece, but it's related to our conversation tonight, and I can do it in the form of a trivia question. And we talked about one of Mays' home runs was so far, but it tailed off to the left and probably precluded it from leaving the stadium. There is one home run hitter in the history of County Stadium to hit a ball out of the park. I wonder if anybody knows who that is. I can give it. It was done in 1991. And I wrote this piece for another book on the Sabre published the story of Milwaukee County Stadium, and I wrote a piece for that book as well.
Is it a first baseman or a designated hitter?
It is an enormous first baseman.
Is it Cecil Fielder?
Yes, it is.
How about
Cecil
that?
Fielder was the only man to clear the stadium and hit a ball completely out of Milwaukee County Stadium.
Steve, can you show that picture so that Norm doesn't have to?
I've got it.
Oh,
I've got it, Gary.
Go ahead, Norm.
Ah, yeah.
Yep, there it is.
Yeah.
So
Very
bench
nice.
held 7? How the hell would Willie Mays had huge hands?
I thought bench held 8.
I think he held 9.
Don't forget, Mars. Don't forget, he probably had a lot of his fingers broken with foul balls. Maybe they got bigger. I don't know.
Could be.
I think let's all give it up for Chip Greene.
Yeah.
Chip, thank you so much for batting.
Wonderful,
leadoff.
Chip. Well done.
I think you did a great job leading off May, the month of Mays. So we want to thank you. Please don't be a stranger, and hop aboard if any of the other guest speakers interest you.
100%. I really appreciate. Thank you for the invite, and I
And
look
again,
forward to.
everybody, Chip contributed to this book. It is available if you're a Sabre member. You could download it, or you can buy it on Amazon. And we've had many speakers from Sabre speak about this to our group over the last couple of years. So, Chip, again, thank you so much for joining us. We will reconvene next Thursday with Joe Marganari, New York Giant pitcher. That should be very exciting as well. Until then, I'm going to shut off the recording. If anybody wants to talk about Willie or I guess about the Giants, we can do that. So have a great night, everybody. Pam, happy Mother's Day. Any of the other ladies, all your wives, girlfriends, happy Mother's Day to all of them. And have a great night, everybody. Be well.
Chip, I had one relative in the majors, a second or third cousin, Craig